Welcome back, you filthy ARPG players. So, just a little bit of a different tone of change for the type of video that I want to put up for this one. I was basically looking at, we have a few days until the new league announcement for Path of Exile, and then obviously that doesn't come into play until the 16th, so there's a bit of time to burn in between now and then. So I thought maybe I'd give people some ideas of 5 Diablo-style ARPG games that you can play in 2021, at least right now. We've also got Diablo 2 Resurrected coming out, and PoE 2, and at some point Diablo 4 will come out, but let's not get our hopes up. So anyway, let's get into the list, and you can have a look and see what you can play in the meantime, which is worth your time. Okay, so the first game I'm actually going to recommend here is Warhammer Chaosbane. Now, if you're a Warhammer Age of Sigmar fan, this is going to be up your alley. It is incredibly violent, it is incredibly fun, and the storyline is actually quite fantastic. Now, the crafting system and everything is relatively straightforward, but it's had some huge patches over the last couple of years to basically make it a really good game. Not to mention the inclusion of the Witch Hunter class, which makes the game a hell of a lot more fun, because you can run around with guns and shoot everything. But the other side of this is it actually has a bit of an end game too. Now, it doesn't have a season or league system or anything like that, but what it does have is a very robust end game where it has an endless tower mode. You can rerun bosses and basically just keep pushing through to harder and harder content. It essentially is a bit of a hybrid between Diablo 3 and Path of Exile. In some areas it has more complex skill tree systems, and it has what is essentially a legacy system or a legendary status system, which is basically like paragons. But outside of that, it's quite a fun game. It's got some very interesting mechanics and a little bit different, and it's Warhammer, and you generally can't go wrong with Warhammer. So I'm going to recommend this as number 5 on my list. Now, the next one on the list that I'm going to mention is going to be Grim Dawn. While this is a great game, I'm not going to say that it's greater than number 4. It's definitely worth playing, but it has its intricacies and I guess its limitations from being a PoE player going to Grim Dawn. It is quite an interesting game. It's actually built from, in many ways, the original engine and mechanics system that was in Titan Quest. Even the same developers are working on it under the guise of Crate Entertainment. Now, it has a very detailed crafting system, a shitload of content. You know, we're talking about, you know, for example, the Forgotten Gods expansions and the Ashes of Malmouth, which is quite good. It also has a huge modding community and backing too, if you want to choose mods like the Diablo 2 mod, which I played a little while back on my channel. And as you can see, it has a full skill power system and everything. It's really a matter of preference with this game, whether or not you like Grim Dawn or whether or not you like Path of Exile. You can like both and or either. It's quite good, it's very detailed, and it has a lot of content, will keep you busy. I would recommend this as of number 4. If you haven't played it, definitely worth checking out. Just be aware that the cost is about 85 bucks, including all the expansions, and it's not really worth playing without the expansions. They add quite a lot of good content into the game that realistically completes the game. But I would definitely have this as a number 4 and worth checking out. You could really burn some time. It's got a lot of I think it was relic items that you can craft in it. You can craft a lot of items as well. It's got transmog systems, a full end game. It has an arena mode. There's a lot of content, so if you're looking to fill some time, definitely check this one out. Okay, so the third game that we're going to have a look at here is actually a mod for Diablo 2 called Project Diablo 2. Now, the reason why I'm coining this one is it's quite significant in the nature of what's happened with this mod. So, there are other mods like Path of Diablo and various other different types of mods that you can get for patching into the game. This one, however, went and took a different stance. So off the bat, it allows a full, essentially, rescale of the original, I guess, graphical interface. And as you can see, it's a lot smoother and cleaner. They've basically implemented some sort of texture rendering to the original sprite system, so the game actually scales at 1080p without mucking around with mod tools significantly. And on top of that, it smooths all the textures out, it smooths everything out, so it really is, I guess, D2 Resurrected without being D2 Resurrected. Now the other side of it is they did a huge item rebalance. They basically re-diversified a number of items. They've added an endgame, including a dungeon system with difficulty challenges, and also an endgame mapping system. And there's actually quite a lot of community that's currently playing this game, which is fantastic. They've also added skill reworks, new skills. You can run Golemancer classes and all that in between. It's basically like D2 on crack, and the best part of it is you only need the base D2 game, which is a few bucks on the Steam store these days. Sorry, not the Steam store, the Blizzard store. And then basically you just go to, and I'll provide the link in the description, the Project Diablo 2 website, download the patch and patch it into the game folder, and Bob's your uncle, you're ready to roll. I definitely recommend playing this. This is actually an extremely fun mod. The game looks amazing considering it's a 21-year-old game. And yeah, you'll have a lot of fun with this if you're a huge Diablo 2 fan like me. I'd probably put this higher, but this is obviously games like Diablo. It isn't the original Diablo game, Diablo 2, but it's bloody hell a friggin' good iteration of it, so definitely would recommend. Okay, so number 2 is actually going to be one that a lot of people are starting to look at a lot more, which is Last Epoch. Now, should probably say that this is still somewhat in development and in early access, and while a lot of people are advocating for this, including bigger streamers, just a word of warning that it's not yet at a stage where I deem it to be near perfect and needs a fair bit of work. But that being said, it is actually quite good, and the potential that this game has it has a lot of potential. It's somewhere in between Path of Exile and Diablo 2, and the crafting system is incredibly detailed. The ability to play a large variety of builds is insane. It has this ridiculously crazy skill tree system, which is a little bit of Diablo, a little bit of Path of Exile, but in the right ways, as you can see right in front of you there. Where I sort of have had issues with this game is the story is somewhat... It's hard to get into the story in some ways, but that being said, it just takes a bit of, I guess, sitting down like any other ARPG to sort of understand what's going on. Now, it does have really cool gear, though the gear art needs a little bit of work, and that's just going to improve with time. Though, as you can see, the sort of graphics that it applies have slowly improved over time. They're consistently patching it, they're consistently creating support for it, and it's actually just generally a really solidly built game by people who are really good fans of the ARPG genre. I would definitely give it a crack, and in fact I'm starting to play this a little more in my off time, and I would definitely advise anybody else who's looking for a good ARPG to get into to give it a go. I think the more people that fund it, the more they're going to be able to beef it up, and the better it's going to be. Rightio, so obviously this is a list of ARPGs that everyone should play, and obviously my channel is focused on one particular ARPG, being Path of Exile. Literally, this is one of the greatest ARPGs ever created. The amount of community feedback that the developers listen to, despite whether it be good or bad sometimes, harvest crafting, as an overall, this is a game that not only provides fan service, but as a games as a service model, it is entirely free. You can choose to buy MTX, but you cannot buy power. And there's no initial outlay, so if you haven't got a lot of money, this is the game to play. You can earn MTX through challenges in the leagues. And as an overall, the crafting system is hugely robust. Boss fights are crazy, the mapping system is next level, the content in this game sometimes even feels to the point where it's completely unbearable and overwhelming, and in particular my channel caters to sort of ease new players into the game where possible and provide build guides and everything. This is an ever-growing game as well. We're talking about this just absolutely spanking the likes of Diablo at this stage, because while Blizzard had opportunities to outdo GGG and the money and the backing, GGG has just sort of went above and beyond, and they're genuinely a developer that cares about their game, and that's the other side of this argument. They will implement and support the community wherever possible. And you know, every 3 months you're getting new content, every 3 months you're getting new mechanics, and every 3 months you're getting a reset and challenges and rewards for playing the game, and rewards for your time. Makes you feel like your gameplay actually means something. So as I guess a top 5 list, this game should pretty much be number 1 of every single top 5 list when it comes to ARPGs. Maybe that's just my bias speaking here, but if you haven't played Path of Exile, or if you're an ongoing you know, fan of Path of Exile, keep playing it and or get into the game. Follow videos, follow the guides, look at what people are doing, and once you've learnt it, it's actually one of the most fun ARPGs that you will ever play. So I hope this video gives you more of an idea of what to play, and also gives you some sort of things to chew on the bone on when it comes to looking at different ARPGs as well. Now, yeah, post your comments on what you think in the comments section of the video. By all means, I've probably upset some people in the placement of Grim Dawn, but I think that's fair based on the list that I've provided. So the other thing is, yeah, check out my Twitter. I've set one up now. Check out Patreon if you'd like to support the channel, but absolutely no need to do that whatsoever. And I think I've got a Nexus GG page in the channel description these days as well. So you know, you might be able to see something there you like, and just follow the links through. It works somehow with Steam. Not entirely sure, but it does work. Anyway, until next time, like and sub, and bye.